I want to bring up a controversial story about this election that you probably have heard about, which broke last Saturday in Coachella, California, while my executive producer Cameron and I were there to cover President Trump's totally epic and inspirational rally. It was surreal. We'll be speaking shortly with the man at the center of this story. But before we do, I'd like to show you some remarks made by Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco the following day.
We have his name as Vem, V-E-M, Miller, M-I-L-L-E-R, and his birth date is 10/26 of 1974. And the reason why I gave it to you like that is I will explain later. He approached the outside perimeter, gave all indications that he belonged there, that he was a participant that was allowed to get into VIP and to and a press corps, and so he was allowed through that outer perimeter. As he got to the inside perimeter, where deputies were conducting obviously a more thorough evaluation of the vehicles that were coming in, there were many irregularities that popped up. The deputy noticed that the interior of the vehicle was in quite disarray. The vehicle had an obviously fake license plate, and that prompted further investigation from our deputy into why the person was there and what he was doing. During that investigation, the deputy eventually found multiple passports with multiple names, multiple driver's license with different names. The vehicle was unregistered, and the license plate was what we in law enforcement would recognize as one that is homemade and indicative of a group of individuals that claim to be sovereign citizens, and assuming the deputy assumes that he was part of that identifying group. So during the investigation, obviously those identification documents were found, in addition to a loaded handgun and a shotgun. If you're asking me right now, I probably did have deputies that prevented the third assassination attempt.
Now keep in mind that there are two sides to every story, and we'd like to hear the other side regarding what really happened that day. So without further ado, joining us now to tell us his side of the story is the man himself, Vem Miller. Vem, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Riley.
So
Appreciate having me.
Absolutely. I just want to hear directly from you. What exactly happened on that day?
Well, at this point, and you could go on my Twitter X account, not Vem Miller, all the information's already been posted. There's been multiple individuals that have been actually going and investigating all these insane claims. Everything's already been debunked in terms of any accusations, and I'm talking about 100% of the stuff that came out of the sheriff's mouth, other than my birthday, is accurate. That's it. That's the only thing he got right. And by the way, I don't know why he had to announce my birthday. I don't know why he had to announce that I'm a potential assassin before actually looking at the evidence and really conducting a proper investigation. Now, I do know the answer to that because this gentleman had a 4-hour window during Coachella where the spotlight of the world was on him because he is the sheriff of that county. He has, from what I've heard from multiple sources, aspirations to become governor. He thought that over the course of my reputation, he could build a reputation as a potential governor candidate. And that is exactly what happened. In terms of, rather than go through the play-by-play of the story, which I've said 100 times, it's posted on the America Happens Rumble account. It's posted all over the place, not hard to find. I give a 1-hour, 6-minute explanation, play-by-play, that is 100% truth compared to what this man is saying in front of us, which is 100% lies. That's already out there. Now, what I'd like to address is the fact that I've been trying to get my car back, and I've been calling a tow company called Tow Medic that is in possession of my car, in possession of all my equipment. Currently, I'm doing this interview with like literally a shoebox and a tomato behind it in order to hold it up like a tripod because I don't have anything. As a person that runs the America Happens network, AmericaHappens.com, I'm essentially forced to do things this way because all my stuff is over there. And so I spent the last 2 days I've been calling this tow company, Tow Medic, and asking him, hey, I need to get my car back, and getting no response. Today I got fed up. I called the sheriff's office, and they told me that, oh, you just got to show up, show the evidence that the car is yours, and they'll give it to you. So I don't know what's going on. What I feel is, though, is happening in this little small town, this corrupt sheriff's department, which is actually known as being one of the most corrupt in the country, is that now they're playing games. It's very obvious that the tow company and the sheriff's office have a relationship. They're liaising with one another. They're trying to make this situation much harder, depriving my rights, acting under the color of law. And what's scary about all this, Riley, is that this gentleman in front of me right here, the sheriff over there, there's no watchman to actually monitor the crimes under the color of law that are currently happening. And I've heard there's a history of this in this police department. Yet, where are the authorities? Where are the people that are supposed to protect we the people against tyrants like this? Because this is tyranny. And this is a perfect example of why our country's falling apart. Because individuals like this, they go up there and they say, hey, I'm a constitutional sheriff. Great words. I love constitutional sheriff. Sheriff Mack is a good friend of mine, and I support the constitutional sheriffs. I've been at a lot of the constitutional sheriffs events multiple times. And in fact, I'm doing a documentary with the constitutional sheriffs, which began 3 months ago, because I think every county should have a constitutional sheriff. But this man is a fraud. It's one thing for him to say, I'm a constitutional sheriff, and it's another thing to do the exact opposite. Some people have been upset at me. George Santos attacked me on a Twitter or X Live yesterday, saying, by the way, he stepped in like 20 minutes into the conversation, didn't hear any of the grounding facts of the situation, started attacking me, saying, you're attacking a constitutional sheriff and you should back off. You should back off your lawsuit. And you know what? First, get the information first and foremost. I don't want to go after a constitutional sheriff, but when somebody reveals themselves to be a fraud, when somebody reveals, you could say one thing, and you've seen this in politics, by the way, let me paint you a picture. How many times have we been very passionate about a politician, thinking, oh, we want to support this governor because he says X, Y, and Z. And then they get into office, they do nothing that they promised, and they leave office rich. And that's what you're looking at over here with this particular sheriff. And you know what? As far as I'm concerned, I apologize to people that this had to go down. I didn't want to go and get into a so-called, legal fight with the sheriff, 2 weeks before the election. This is the last thing I wanted. But now that he's done what he's done, defamed me internationally, and ruined my reputation, caused me to fear for my life, because I have people like the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department anti-terrorism unit calling me saying, there's a lot of headline readers out there. There's a lot of people that think that you're still this potential third assassin, and somebody might come and kill you or harm you because they think that they're doing Donald Trump a favor. And it's because this man wanted his 15 minutes of fame, power-hungry individual, and this is the predicament that we're in. But where's the watchman? Where's the people? Where is the authorities? I mean, look, I could post a tweet that might sound like a threat, and then the FBI will be at my door within 15 minutes for like a tweet. But this guy has a history of bad behavior. All I get is phone calls from people saying this department's falling apart. All the deputies are getting fat. They wear big cowboy buckles. Everything's going against regulation. This guy's taking people's gun rights away. Let's say they get suspended, they lose their gun rights. So it's like, Mr. Second Amendment guy? No, that's not what's happening, right? And so it's a mess, and nobody's watching. Nobody cares. It doesn't seem like Washington cares to hold these people accountable. So it's just, everything's a mess. And the cancer in our country, this is a microcosm of the example of why our country's falling apart and why we're in this situation right now.
Yeah, I'm just so completely overwhelmed by all of that, and I'm so sorry to hear about what you're going through and what you've been going through. I want to ask you as well about the legal action that you're taking, because like you just said,
Sure.
there are real consequences and damages here. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So the minute this went down, the great thing about this experience, and it's almost like if I start thanking people, that would be like a 25-minute video on itself, right? But what I didn't expect is the support. That what I realized is, due to the fact that I've been very active in this movement, and frankly, after doing all these interviews, I could confidently say I'm in the top, 0.1% of individuals that have dedicated the last 4 years of their lives to actually help Donald Trump get back in office, because we believe that Donald Trump is the only one that has honestly the courage to fight this kind of nonsense that's happening right here. Everybody else seems to want to play nice. And so, I've worked very hard in pushing the Trump agenda forward. And, it's just unfortunate that somebody like that is now called, third potential assassin, which, talking to reporters, every single individual out there, on a cursory glance, they're like, there's no way this is possible. So why was it possible for the sheriff to do that? I mean, I have to pose that question. Why is it that out of all people, he literally chooses the most unlikely person to come after? And I think that answer is pretty clear. But in terms of the legal action, I have been having a lot of support. We're digging up, a lot of evidence, and you could go on my Twitter account, not Vem Miller, to see some of the things that are being posted out there, the evidence to contradict the lies that are coming out. And simply, we're putting a case together. What happened in terms of the lawyer coming forward is that the minute this went down, just like all the journalists out there, and they started, kind of look after the official first blast of, Vem Miller, third potential assassin or whatever hit, literally in a coordinated fashion, all these lawyers started reaching out to me. And one of those lawyers is somebody who I ran for office with, Sigal Chada. Another one was that Timothy Treffinger, who ran for DA at the time that I ran for office. Sigal Chada ran for Attorney General. She's also the chairwoman of the Republican National Party. And, I felt comfortable with her, even though there was like a dozen lawyers that were reaching out to me. And so she looked at it and she said, whoa, wait a minute, this is clearly all a lie. Then she goes and she starts researching the sheriff's background, and she says, there's a patterns and practices here of this guy essentially running his department. And she didn't say this particular thing, but this is how I interpret it, like a Tony Soprano running a sheriff's department. That's really what's going on. If you can imagine Tony Soprano, pot bellies, acting renegade, that's what's going on over there. And she says, wow, this is absolutely insane. There's a patterns and practices here of this individual not really giving a crap about the law. And so, you know what, my experience here is probably the worst potential outcome of the microcosm of what this kind of individual is capable of. And again, it's very sad that, he hasn't been charged, he hasn't been arrested. This deputy that was conveying flat out false information to him hasn't, been fired. He literally said verbatim that the words coming out of my mouth was a threat to the president. I won't even reveal the sentence. It's out there in the public domain for people to look at. And there's zero evidence. We keep saying, hey, expose the body cams, which will verify what's going on, and he's hiding the body cams. We have individuals out there like Ivan Rakel and General Flynn posting, hey, where's the body cams? You made all these claims, and the body cams are gone. Are the body cams ever going to be released, or are the body cams going to be destroyed? I'll tell you for a fact, those body cams will affirm exactly what I'm saying. They're hiding evidence right now, and we will get those by a court order, and lo and behold, we might find out that they destroyed it, because once people see the body cams, there's still some people that believe that the official narrative that came out the first day is true. But I'm 100% confident. I don't lie. I'm just I'm a documentary filmmaker, podcaster. I run the America Happens Network because I'm passionate about freedom. I'm passionate about our Constitution, and that's all I am. And unfortunately, I'm stuck in this crazy situation right now.
Yeah, well, Vem, we will be following what happens with this legal action, of course, and the rest of your story, and hopefully you are able to get some justice. And of course, we're out of time, but thank you so much for your time here. I'm sure you're very busy, and we really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Riley. Thank you.